Hello, my name is Marshall Spalson. In the past, I've worked on several projects for business improvement associations using conceptual video and conceptual drawings in order to objectify ideas. Here you can see in front of you is a very rough map of the Riverfront Trail Park, and what I'm proposing in this video is a passive park, but instead of just being passive, I'm not completely against certain things being developed, and what I'm for developing are what I call rungs, like on a ladder. As you can see, I've treated the Riverfront Trail and the extension rungs like a half a ladder, like cutting a ladder in half. And what these rungs represent are extensions of the pathway or trail extensions. We call them corridors, for lack of a better term, leading to the business districts that lie between Walker Road and Huron Line. If we look to the right, we look at Devonshire Road. That would represent one rung, which we would extend as a pathway or trail into Old Walkerville itself. Onto Perrin Avenue, which would also be landscaped accordingly, just as Devonshire Road would be, and all the corridors would be landscaped to look exactly like an extension of what is going on Riverside Drive, having a walking path, a bicycle path, and landscaping like trees and flowers and what have you. And Perrin Avenue would lead to the eastern part of Wyandotte Street, which has a lot of restaurants and cafes and stores, but also continue on to La Bella Strada, Windsor's Little Italy, eventually leading to Ottawa Street, another business district. Extending over to Lewis, it doesn't have to be Lewis Avenue, I put Lewis Avenue, but another good street might be Howard Avenue, ultimately leading all the way up to Howard, all the way down to Provincial Road. The next street over is our downtown Main Street, Willette Avenue. The extension should lead from the Riverfront Park right up to Willette Avenue to naturally attract people walking the path up to these business districts. Going more west, there's the International Garden Path. I'm not saying turn that into a rung, but it's already there, which should be promoted a little bit more as a way to maneuver through the city once again. Further west, I've taken the rung through to Atkinson Park so that you can meander through to the next park and lead on to Partington Avenue, which leads to a very burgeoning Wyandotte Street West University District, ultimately ending at the university campus. That would be the final rung, not necessarily drawn, but it nonetheless would be the final destination before Huron Line. The yellow dots represent my idea to have bicycle taxis. Bicycle taxis nowadays are they're modern, they're heated. I think this would be a very viable and feasible form of transportation in the city of Windsor, especially that it's only less than a 5-kilometer distance between the furthest rung on Devonshire to the university campus, and possibly designate only the rungs as the routes for these bicycle taxis. They'd probably be very efficient and maybe at times faster than automobiles. Another thing I put, if you could look at the table of contents, the red square, the red box represents the beacons. What are the beacons? The beacons would also tell the hikers or walkers or people enjoying the riverfront that this is where another rung will lead you to a business district. People can use their imaginations. What are the beacons? My idea was to have them represent a different historical person, something from Windsor's past. Let's say one beacon is a statue of Chief Tecumseh, and maybe another statue, perhaps in Old Walkerville, is Hiram Walker himself. It doesn't matter what the beacon is, but hopefully, someone can use their imagination. It'd be very original and unique. Also at these stops, these beacons, there should be small washroom facilities with water fountains and possibly information concerning the rung and how far it is to these business districts and what you may expect once you reach these business districts. Another topic of discussion is a marina. My feeling is that after about 10 years, marinas become very ugly. They are, for lack of better terms, boat parking lots. They become unattractive places and also smelly places. I put my marina behind the old granary at Hiram Walker's. There are plans to take that granary over and turn it into something, a public space, Possibly there will be places to eat, maybe accommodations, a tourist bureau, which would also make sense for people trying to find safe harbor coming from the river off their boats during a thunderstorm, rain, bad weather, and they could pull in, and then right away there's a safe place for them to find cover, instead of building a new structure for wherever a marina would be on the riverfront, and also eventually become an eyesore. I'm completely against parking lots on the riverfront, as I am against boat lots on the water. We also have a festival plaza that's there. It exists. I think that's very fine. It's nice. But I don't think that any other structures would be necessary concerning what some may call soft commerce, being that we have many business districts with many empty stores, also empty lots that should be developed. Until that time comes, I don't see any reason to be developing new business districts when the old ones need help. When that time comes, maybe years from now, then we could start thinking about developing new business districts. But for now, I think that we should utilize the riverfront as a way to lure and link the city together, at least the central part of the city between Huron Line and Old Walkerville, Walker Road, to create more of a community as opposed to separating the districts. And once again, using the riverfront trail and its rungs as a link. Now, what to do concerning business? Well, sure, if you're walking down the riverfront, it would be nice to have ice cream or a coffee. I don't see any reason why the city couldn't do what other cities have done. If you go to Vancouver, if you go to Calgary, if you go to New York, if you go to Toronto, there are all kinds of opportunities for vendors to peddle their wares. There are so many unique ideas when it comes to selling food and how to sell it. These are licensing opportunities for the city to get money for people buying licenses, and also an opportunity for people to create jobs for themselves. Most people can't afford to refurbish a storefront or buy a building, but a lot of people that are, in the past have worked in the service industry can afford to spend a few $1,000s to get a business started when it's concerning vendors. So there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of ideas for vendors, whether it's a person selling a taco or whether it's a person selling a homemade hat. That should be, open for discussion. And also make the riverfront an incredibly interesting place to go get a bite to eat. And if that doesn't satisfy them, then walk up one of the rungs, a couple blocks, and you'll be in a completely different business district. Another concern of mine, having the soft commerce on the riverfront, once again, you're going to build some buildings, you're going to want parking lots, and once you have parking lots, it's just no longer a park, it's no longer a riverfront, it's basically riverfront development. Defeats the entire purpose. These businesses, I also believe, will be devastated in the wintertime. It's hard enough to walk down Riverside Drive in October, let alone in November, December, January, February, and possibly March. So you're looking at almost 50% of the year where these businesses aren't going to be viable. They're not going to be making money. They're going to be, it's going to be a dead zone. I also placed on this map bridges or tunnels to cross Riverside Drive as part of the corridors or the rungs, so to make it easier and also evident as to which way to lead towards these business districts of interest. Okay, that's my idea for the Riverfront Park. There are feasibility studies. There are many things that have been done concerning ideas like this by other cities, mostly in the United States. And I think that it's about time Windsor looks into these. They don't have to spend the millions of dollars researching. Other cities have done it. So thank you very much for listening.